So that was one thing I wanted to do. And the next thing I want to do is to move our router out of the main.py. So to do this, I'm not going to create a new package. I'm just going to create a new Python file because I think it's correct if the router is in our root directory. So let's call this router and simply move the router out of our main.py file. So again, cut it and paste it here. Now again, we need to import web app 2 into the router. Here we go. And now we see we have a little problem here because we either need to import the main handler and the greet handler, but if you imagine this project getting bigger and bigger, we will end up opening up a lot of routes, a lot of paths in our router. And this will be very problematic because if we were to, for example, from main import main handler and also import greet handler, well, yeah, okay, this will work now. But this is very problematic in big projects because if we open up a lot of routes, let's see 100 routes, we will have to import all 100 request handlers. We are not only importing 100 request handlers when we only need to import one, because any request is going to be handled by one request handler at a time, so this will be incredibly inefficient, but also we will clutter up our router with a bunch of imports, which we also don't want. So the correct solution is to use a route class that the Web App 2 framework provides us. It's really handy because we will avoid doing all these imports. So how do we implement this? Well, we go from Web App 2 import route. Okay, so how do we use routes? Well, we type in route, and the first thing we need to pass the route class is the path. So the first case is going to be our home path, and then we need to specify the handler. So the handler is going to be equal to a string, and this string will tell the router where the request handler is located in. So we type in main.main handler, okay? And we will do the exact same thing for the greet handler. So this will be the path greet, and the handler will be greet handler. Okay, great. So we can go ahead and delete this. And so again, what have we done here? Well, basically, instead of declaring the route just simply by means of a tuple mapped to the actual class itself, we're using the route class, and the route class allows us to pass the handler as a string, so we no longer need to import. If you see, PyCharm is again hinting us that these imports are not used, so we can go ahead and delete them. And so essentially we no longer need to implement every single handler that we are going to be using, so this makes our script much more efficient. And again, main is the name of the file, so this is the main.py, so that's why we wrote main. And then inside of main, we have our main handler, which is going to be the request handler serving this request, the same for greet handler serving the greet request. Okay, so now we need to update one more thing, and that's the app.yaml file. Okay, so see here we're pointing to main.app, and currently main.app does not exist because we have deleted the app variable from the main file. So we have to point this to router.app, okay? So now we go to our router, sure enough we have our app variable, and so we just need to point all of our requests to the router.app file. So now let's go back to our browser and see if this works. I'll hit refresh. And sure enough, it works. Okay, so great job, guys. You have successfully created your first application. You learned some basics of HTML. You learned how to to save things to the database and also retrieve them, order them. You have also refactored your application, which is an incredibly important skill you must develop, because the ability to think about how to structure your code, and while you gain experience, you'll figure out new ways to organize your code in much better ways. So this ability is really important. And finally, you have organized your project in a really nice and tidy manner, because we have separated our models into their own folder. We have used templates, and we have created a template folder. So now we can access the HTML elements and the templates by themselves independently from the request handler. And we have managed to have a very simple file with only containing our request handlers, and again another very simple file only containing our router. So great job, guys. Congratulations, you have created your first App Engine application. In the next section, we will start to develop our main project, our recipe search engine, which will be an extremely exciting project to develop, because we are going to use so many more features of App Engine. This section was just to get to know App Engine, and the next section we will actually develop on a lot of features that App Engine brings. So I can't wait to get started.